Day and age of dystopian science fiction, where everything is grim and dark and depressing, I think there's an appetite for a show that is aspirational and optimistic and hopeful and maybe provides a blueprint of the future we could have if we get our shit together. And that's really what's at the core of the Orville.
How did Jon Favreau get involved in directing the pilot?
Favreau, you know, I picked up the phone and I called him expecting a hard no. And Favreau said yes. He came in and just hit the tone of this thing on the head. I mean, it was just a perfect choice. And it's one of the best working experiences of my life, and we were very lucky to get him.
Adrian, can you talk a little bit about your role as first officer? It's not the usual second banana thing. Your relationship with Ed is very different.
The relationship between Ed and Kelly is very interesting. They had a divorce a year before. She ends up taking over as his first officer on the starship Orville, and it's kind of a fun and tumultuous dynamic.
Penny, how do you feel about the Orville?
Being back in space is like being out of space. It's the bomb. If you ever want to go out of space, you just make sure you're on the ship that's helmed by Seth MacFarlane. It's different from the regular Star Trek in that we get to play in this playground that's limitless. I get to have scenes with someone who really isn't there. It's a computer-generated character.
The character's name is Yaphet, and he's played by Norm Macdonald. So
Norm is so funny, that voice.
You're in one of those full head helmets. What's that like for you as an actor? Are there any problems doing that? I mean, creating the character through that makeup?
It's been great, with the exception of the other day, some ants crawled into my aesthetic because it was open. I go and they seal me up, and then I feel this, and I'm glued in, so I can't rip it off. Otherwise, I rip my skin off. But that's been cool. I mean,
that's great. That's good. That's good. Hey, Mark, you're from England.
I am.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So you get this big role in this big TV show, and then we put a bag over your head. What's it like acting through? How do you create Isaac? Do you draw on anything to create the character of Isaac without your face to help you?
Yeah, it's a challenge. You sort of have to put away the actor's ego, which is always a good thing, I think. And yeah, I mean, having the costume and the helmet on, it actually informs the way you move. And you can use that to get into the character and get into the role.
Hey, Halston.
Hey, David.
You played a lot of high school students, and now you're playing the alien head of security. Tell us a little bit about Alara, where she's from, and how you play that part, and how that part is different for you, or is it different?
So when I first read the script, I fell in love with the story, but I also fell in love with Alara just because I found it so fascinating that she was the youngest and the smallest person on the ship. And maybe the most inexperienced, but she was also the one defending the entire crew. And I think for Seth to see someone in that character as something so different than we've ever seen before, it was really exciting to me. And it's fun and a challenge every day coming and bringing her to life and trying to make her look like a badass.
Jay, what was your first job in show business?
Listen, okay. I'm gonna just keep it funky. My first job when I moved to LA was as the receptionist at Family Guy. And I sit up here and I'm looking out and I'm really sort of like taken aback because it's, I always wanted to be up here.
For all you aspiring actors out there, that's not gonna happen again. So. Chad, tell us, you play Bortis's mate.
Mate, yes.
Clyden.
Yes.
Tell us some of the challenges of playing a single-sex species.
One of the challenges is being mistaken for Peter by the crew. I'm like, no, all Mocklins don't look alike. So Chad under here, not Peter. You know what? The biggest challenge is it's the show. It's a hybrid. It's the comedy and drama and balancing both. But it's so funny. So when me and Peter, going at it, man, it's hard to keep a straight face.
They both play it completely straight, and you really actually do believe they're in love, which is
We
kind
will
of
be
this
America's
amazing-
next favorite couple. Come on, guys.
I
Make it
think
happen.
it's possible.
This cast is probably the most extraordinary group of people I've ever worked with. You know, it's one of those situations where every single person, when called upon to bring it, can carry their own story and their own hour of television. And yet, when we're all together and everything just kind of comes together and congeals and just kind of blends in just that right way, you have something that